Good afternoon. Welcome to the Pan-IUR Speaker Series. I am John G. Lin, Benjamin Lin, Presidential Professor of City and Regional Planning at the Weizmann School of Design. Welcome all of you to this lecture entitled Statecraft, Urbanism, Building Garden Cities in Shenzhen by Professor Hou Li at Harvard University Graduate School of Design. I have the honor to introduce Hou Li. We have known each other for many years. We were classmates at Tongji University in the 1990s. So we have been communicating, working for many years. So it's my honor to welcome her to Penn. Professor Hou is a lecturer in city and regional planning at the Harvard University Graduate School of Design. Before joining Harvard, she held the position of Professor of Urban Planning at Tongji University and served as the PhD Program Director at the Department of Urban and Rural Planning. She's a planning scholar, educator, and historian, and her expertise focuses on theory of urban and regional planning, planning regulations, and spatial politics. She's author of the award-winning book, Bill for Oil, the Qin and the Formation of the Chinese Socialist State, Harvard University Press, 2018, and Richard Pollock in Shanghai, 1933 to 1949, the post-war planning and reconstruction of modern Chinese metropolis, Tongji University Press, 2016. She has also written, published numerous book chapters and articles. So I'm thrilled to welcome her to this podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Zhongji, and good afternoon. It's such an honor to be here, and I'm really glad. And we've been talking this, we have a mutual benefit. I also look forward to someday invite Professor Lin to give a talk at the Fairbanks Center for China Studies. Hopefully, when your new book coming out. Yeah. This talk actually originated from a special issue we try to co-edit together for Time and Architecture called Newtown. So we added a special issue on Newtown development in China. So I presented an extraordinary case in Shenzhen of Garden City building whose physical forms originated from several international inspiration, and its planning and development served a greater purpose of communist China. China Communist Party's social and economic reform. I call it a united front among reformers, overseas business people, intellectuals, elite. Okay, yeah, and social elites with the real estate industry on the southern border of China. So I have three keywords in this talk. The first, of course, is Garden City. Garden City is a global design concept, also a brand, a successful in many countries, a business model for real estate development. Like the one, I think the one of the most well-known is Frederick Olmsted's Riverside as like a model of a garden suburb. Really successful. It also as a symbol of Western progress or national aspirations in the early 20th century, a code for this progress nationwide, this aspiration for modern life. It's been invented and reinvented so many times. Today, I present you the case, Shenzhen, we call it overseas Chinese town, Huaqiaocheng, is more of a contemporary mid-20th century, 1980s example for Garden City building. The article published, you can scan the QR code, download. It's in Chinese. So if you read Chinese, you are welcome to read the article. I would argue the left side is Shenzhen OCT Huaqiaoquan, and the right side is Riverside. They applying similar physical design elements, but I would argue in Shenzhen OCT's case, which involve the Garden City as a means to facilitate social and political change, is quite indeed consistent to its original invention as a social movement. So the second is why I call it a united front, because this is not just a metaphor, but this is called a united front work. And also why I named it Statecraft Urbanism. How has the party state involved, and what crafts had the state employed in shaping the urbanism of Shenzhen OCT? It's mainly the land of overseas Chinese town in Shenzhen, administered, we cannot say belong, owned, it's administered by, we call it Overseas Chinese Affairs Office, 侨办, 国侨办. This is institution has several names, but overall it's under this umbrella of called United Front Work Department, 统战. China, we have this called one institution, two names, but like with the same group of people. It has the third name. I just couldn't put it in there. There's also Overseas Chinese Affairs Committee under the People's Congress. So there's such a entity under the party system, also the State Council, also the People's Congress, who's in charge, who's manage relations and also attempts to gain influence over elite individuals and organizations, especially those outside of the Communist Party. I don't know, here in Chinatown, every Chinatown, normally there would be such a branch for 侨办, Overseas Chinese Office. But right now, Boston Chinatown, they don't hand this People's Republic China flag anymore. It's under immense pressure, given the current conflict. That's beyond what we're talking about. Anyway, that piece of land managed by Overseas Chinese Office, run initially by the provincial government, but later being directly administered by the state office. Also, the other important actor in this Garden City development is Zhonglü, China Travel Services in Hong Kong. It also enterprise managed by this, I would call OCAO, because the name is too long. So, so the third keyword will definitely be the land, or Shenzhen, or the Garden City itself, or the city inside the city. It's called formerly called Shahe Sand River Farm. It was called Overseas Chinese Farm. It located at the heart of Shenzhen Special Economic Zone. It's why it belonged to the United Front Work Department. It's mainly it has something to do with its location, because it's not only nowadays we see it's located at the heart of Shenzhen Special Economic Zone, but before it was located at the border of Shenzhen, the China mainland, and Hong Kong. Its proximity to Hong Kong. It's just a little more than 1 hour swim across the sea, but not me. I would be drowned. Maybe Professor Lin, you could do that. In the 1960s and the 70s, it is the land that saw the escaping of tens of thousands of mainlanders who escaped from Cultural Revolution and seek refugees in Hong Kong. On the other hand, it also a state farm that housed the return of many overseas Chinese refugees from Vietnam or from Indonesia, from mass killings targeted at Communist Party members or their sympathizers. So it was such a land of sadness and tragedy that people were trapped by ideological conflicts who had to risk their lives to migrate for better opportunities, or just for basic food or shelter for living. That kind of, I think, talk to contemporary situation. So for one of the most well-known Deng's saying that this escaping, large scale of escaping of mainlander from Shenzhen to Hong Kong, Deng said we cannot blame local officials. We cannot add, but this is certainly a land patrolling by armies. But Deng said we couldn't blame those officers. What we can do is to develop the China mainland to people can make a better living here, so they don't need to escape. They don't need to risk their life running away to Hong Kong. That's like the beginning of the story. So that's the right now the contemporary border of overseas Chinese town. See the yellow boundary lines. If you see the 1980s, it's slightly smaller because you can see the coastal line is like a dramatic expanded, but that won't be the topic we talk about today, but maybe it's another fascinating topic. But this land, why OCT chose this, and also they only pick on the eastern side of the overseas Chinese farm. Western side was also belong to overseas Chinese office, but it's full of farming, rich, flat farming land and villages. So under this, during this negotiation in the 1970s and the 1980s, eventually Guangdong provincial government and the Shenzhen municipality agreed to only give away the eastern, more of a hilly topography to the state office. My assumption is, first of all, we don't have much time because we only have 45 minutes, but my assumption is, as compared to Shekou, overseas Chinese office is, after all, ideological department. It didn't have much negotiation power with the local government. So, that's the piece of land that they got from Shenzhen local government. It was orchards and some. I have a better image. Yeah, and also already in the late 1970s, a small enterprise zone, industrial park for processing industries. You can see this is Shennan Dadao. This was Shennan Dadao, and that this beside the Shennan Dadao is the first not 5 at the time. I think it's 4-star hotel along the road. The hilly terrain also has one great advantage. It is scenic and beautiful, especially in the southern area. The Sand River Farm, they produce, they have fishing, but fishing basically forbidden because of this large scale of running away from mainland, but they still produce fruits, lychee, and jackfruit, bolomi, is specifically well known, and oysters, among many other things. You can really, that the mountain is in Hong Kong, new territory. So So finally, agreement was made because the leader of the United Front Work Department was Liao Chengzhi. He's the son of two prominent lefty nationalists, Kuomintang. This but he didn't eventually make the deal. Then he passed away in 1983. Ye Fei took over. Ye Fei was the only general in the PRC, People's Republic, with dual citizenship, China and the Philippines. And also, he's not the propaganda guy. He's the one who been through wars and have comrades, like a friendship formed. So when he took over the leadership, he struck a deal with Guangdong provincial government. With first of all, if you see, I think you can see. This is Liang Guang. This is not he's the governor of Guangdong province. He's also, I believe, is relative in marriage of Ye Fei. So successfully, they reached agreement in 1985 that they would share this profit from developing OCT, 60% to the state office, 20% to the province, and 20% to the municipality. Also, the China Travel Service will pay a great deal regarding, this transfer of land. That's the beginning of the new development of overseas Chinese town. That was the first version of master plan for the Shahe Sand River Collective Farm into called Shahe Enterprise, overseas Chinese enterprise. It was supposed to be developed as an industrial park, like Shekou was. Plus, they already had a hotel, I mentioned in the first image, and a casino. And yes, there was a casino in 1981 in Shenzhen. That's what they thought of, how to attract rich overseas Chinese. I think Chinese are well known, right? Gambling, they really, very strange combination. But that's what Liao Chengzhi had in mind, like an industrial park, plus something to trick rich overseas Chinese coming to the land besides industrial production. But when the new leader came and Ma Zhimin, I forgot to show. He's the chairman of China Travel Services, and he hired Meng Daqiang as the chief designer of this overseas Chinese town. At the time, he was the co-chair of Department of Architecture of National University of Singapore. Daqiang was born in Tianjin, receiving his college education in Taiwan, nowadays Chenggong University, and later TU Darmstadt in Germany. He joined a Dutch design firm called OD205 in 1965, founded by Sam van Emden. Forgive my pronunciation, but after you talk, I feel much better. My daughter always question my English pronunciation. Not to mention Dutch. Emden was asked to provide a design for the new NUS campus at Kent Ridge. And Meng Daqiang was the chief planner and the manager of this Kent Ridge campus, which was built in the late 1960s. I guess that's why he later became the co-chair of Department of Architecture at the NUS. So I have the Singapore, besides NUS campus, Singapore garden city movement had always been a big model for Shenzhen and for many Chinese cities. This natural, you can see the natural geographic terrain of Kent Ridge, kind of similar to Shahe area I show you in Shenzhen. So OD 205's approach, OD 205 is the address in Netherlands, Delft, in Delft. 205 is the number, and OD, I don't know the weird Dutch address, but that's the address. They focus more on this continuity in development process. You see that they have this they call the grade system to maintain flexibility in the plan. They call tartan grade. On the other hand, they also left room for like a future expansion of this campus building and respect and even emphasizing the natural topography of Kent Ridge as the dominant landscape. But I also heard the Singapore government, they want a very scattered, decentralized plan, so to avoid the student protests in the 1960s. So I think both are very successful. That came the new master plan for OCT in 1986. So Meng Daqiang's structure plan, greatly respecting the natural geography and keeping this flexibility of development, it was very well received in the OCT leadership. He later served also like as the consultant for the OCT for continuous 11 or even more 11 years. So which kind of contribute to that continuity, also the implementation of this initial structural design. That's how it looked like when I visited here. It's always like it's an ocean of greenery in OCT. You also kind of see this resemblance of the NUS Kent Ridge campus of this OCT community. So living in OCT is living in a garden or like a theme park. There's fireworks every day. There is a theme park. I will talk about that later. And because when OCT began its building and development, that was the late 1980s. It wasn't an easy time for People's Republic of China. It hit a downturn of the reform and opening up. So also for Shenzhen, there was question and doubts and mass protest. So it was difficult to attract investment. Not even a casino would do for the late 1980s. So what did the OCP developer do? They built a theme park and they planted trees. That's another, I have many of these images from one of my OCT friends' window looking across, Hong Kong over there, and the luxury greenness right here. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, see that this even like in the from the very beginning, the OCT developer, they keep a pretty mature luxury landscape before the buildings. You can see when even this is the, I don't know how to pronounce again, Portofino, this mock Italian community, luxury housing community called Portofino. But before they built it, they would have the nursery, the plant nursery. They planted trees enormously around the site. They also learned from Singapore to pick the specific species of trees for example, you know, Singapore, like Li Guangyang often nicknamed as the number one, the Singapore's chief gardener. He would handpick what kind of species. Rain tree is one of his favorite, originally from South America, but because of beautiful canopy and this striking pink and white flowers, it's picked. You can see from the airport and lots of places. It widely planted in Singapore, was later considered even as a national heritage tree. They have this brochure to introduce all kinds of trees. They especially like to pick those in great colors and also tropical, very typical this climate suitability start that they pick. All this also they later on in the 1980s, Singapore began to plant those fruit trees, which kind of really a match for OCT because formerly Shahe Sand River Farm, they're producing fruit trees. They were orchards. Actually, this kind of a technique, Ma Zhiming, who was the leader, over there, very tall guy, he's the how do I say the leader of the guerrilla, not the monkey guerrilla, the independent group, the military revolutionary group before 1949. But later he was the party secretary of Shenzhen town, and also I think the director of Bao'an United Front Work Department, 统战部部长. He know how to apply this technique from the 1960s. That was one of the major projects he led in 1963 is to build this Shenzhen Reservoir to provide fresh water supply to Hong Kong. And that was 1960, like China just barely recovered from the Great Famine, but they did build a garden on top of the dam to receive Hong Kong gas. To, through this landscape, the beautiful, relatively beautiful landscape to show Hong Kong gas that we are a family. Yeah, we support you. They did sell water for a great price, but on the other hand, they would emphasize this blood connections, etc. So he established a professional landscaping company to fulfill such a mission and planted generously in this area. This is one of I cannot pronounce Latin, so read it's called 凤凰花. It has it will have like a really like a shining red color in the summer. Many palm trees planted along many signature roads along we call it 侨香路, fragrance road, or on the mountains. And fruit trees, I specifically asked students to collect that. This is the bolomi, jackfruit fruit tree. But on the other hand, those remaining preserved fruit trees also cause trouble to the municipal maintenance work because all those fruits, they will fall. So for a while, it was very popular, not only in Shenzhen overseas Chinese town, but the other part of Shenzhen. The other part of Shenzhen all follow these trends. But then Huanwei, the public works, the Bureau of Public Works protested, no, you should never. So many of those jackfruit trees were replaced along the Shenan Boulevard. Some of the students helped me to find those fruit trees, also lychee trees. But on the other hand, it's not one is a technology, but on the other hand, also heard different story. For example, such a lychee tree belonged to overseas Chinese families, so they couldn't just tear it down, so they had to preserve it. There's a certain fight between bulldozers and those farmers. Anyway, this kind of a greening technique and strategy really works for the Shenan Boulevard when it began its construction. The construction really slow. Remember, I taught how difficult China was in the late 1980s and early 1990s. this is another well from early 1990s. Just the theme park already completed. Yeah, this I think that this totally brought me back to the 1980s to see the red taxis and how the theme park, the 3 theme park, were very successful when they built in the late 1980s. This is the splendid China. And also, yeah, they right now they already abandoned this light rail, and look how they planted tree even before all the other construction completed. Every VIP would ask to plant a tree in this region, so I picked one. Yes, this is Bush, senior President Bush. They all their greenery strategy are so successful. They attract lots of migrating birds into this region. I don't know, have any of you visited OCT before? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not the same pass.
Okay. Did you have like a lunch or dinner there? Because you could barely talk. The bird is so loud. It's always like they have this island. It's like a sanctuary for the migrating bird. It's very, very loud. It's surprisingly. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I think the second feature of overseas Chinese town is its road system. There's no cross intersection or like a dead end road and what we call T junctions, which make the Shenzhen city planner really furious, because that's how Shenzhen was like. Because Shenzhen. Sometimes we call it the instant city. They have to build very quickly. This grid system, this very rigid grid system, is how to make things work. So they have this linear city pattern, and they lay down all the grids. Look at this is the overseas Chinese town area. You can see it was envisioned as an industrial park, and some scenic, some recreational use in the south, but it's definitely not. It's like a very perfect structure, but disrupted by, if I can, disrupted by such kind of a really narrow widening roads apply to garden suburbs, like here in the US, like Riverside, or in Singapore, in a campus for a really high density urban development. But Shenzhen, because this instruction and this land belong to the State Office of Overseas Chinese Town, and they got support from the central leader. So the city planner had to listen. So this is the Zhongguiyuan, the China Academy Urban Plan. They simply copy their plan into the master plan. However, they felt unfair and unreasonable for their road system. They later even, like, there's a theme park is in the southern part of OCT of Shenan Dadao, in the south of Shenan Dadao. But later on, they even add another theme park called Happy Valley, right in the middle of OCT. Still, surrounded by those narrow, winding roads without light signals, only one lane per direction. This adds lots of burden to the city street, to its surrounding city street, but it's created a peaceful and a quiet environment for its the whole community. Not to mention later, since 2005, it's formerly the industrial parks being transformed, adapted into post-industrial use called OCT lofts. and it became a really lively center, not only the community, but also for the whole city. That is the most fancy place. If you visit Shenzhen, I would highly recommend you go if you wanna have like go to restaurant or coffee shop. So overall, despite all those years and despite this dispute between the municipal government, Shenzhen OCT surprisingly kept its original road system with no traffic light signal, only those small narrowing road. There's no industrial use anymore. All high density luxury housing and office and even theme parks, Happy Valley. I don't think I have much time to talk about architecture, but this is a very the most well-known piece. Oh, I try to ask you to see which is real Italy. Yeah, that's yeah, I know. Portofino, right? Italian waterfront tourist destination of Portofino. That's how it began. I interviewed the architect, Peter, I don't know how to pronounce that again, Peter Dornyar. They call it Baitao design, PT design. Actually, I heard he was very humiliated when he heard the mission. But when in 2021, when I interviewed him, he's very happy and satisfied with his outcome because overall, this Portofino is, you see, his design firm even named after that, PT Design, I believe it's Portofino, referring to that. What the first most successful project, he was in China. He got open a large design firm located in OCT, starting from that. You can see how he struggled with his sketch. He tried to be more innovative rather than copy the bell tower, but he was forced to just replicate exactly the same bell tower in Italy. But that's just the beginning. It's late 1990s, the whole project built in 2022. But overall, although the names of this luxury housing project, they still reflect this word aspiration, but the style slightly progressed to more like a modern architecture like this one. I don't know how to pronounce that either. 新天鹅堡 New Swan Castle, Swan. Yeah, it's I took this picture because there's also called a Swan Lake in front of this new Swan Castle. It was called Qinghua Chi. It's nothing fancy, but the Swan Lake is kind of a more fancy. I think I took that picture when I heard a mom took her son for a lunch break here, have a picnic, and the two boys asked their mom, "Oh, this is so nice." There are actually swans like swimming. I didn't catch it. This is so nice. Can we someday live here? Their mom said, "Oh, in your dream." I think I would escape the theme park. But theme park is like another episode of a fascinating stories, how they put them together for the three, and how artists were hired to make all those great walls in great quality, and how they made this. This is more like artwork. This is not a business if you observe in detail to see this. I cannot know the name of the artist. It's from 中央美院, the Central Academy of Fine Arts, 周光章. Anyway, so I'm not going to talk about that in great detail. They spent quite a fortune to do that, to build this splendid China. And also the window of the world. You can basically tell that's the photo provided by Ren Huanzhang, the chief designer, also the vice CEO of Window of the World. It's kind of also very interesting how they brought the word architecture in a celebration, in the square. It's different from splendid China. It's like the splendid Chinese well-known masterpiece scattered around a Chinese-like garden. But then the window of the world, they brought together. It's a huge celebration. Of course, it's built upon like the world map, but there's also this Roman square celebration. To wrap up, some of the interviews I did to its designers, developer, and OCT residents, there's very clear this feeling of homecoming across time. Meng Daqiang said that in early like 2000s. He said he's really touched when he's the first international. He established the first joint venture architecture firm called Dadi. They call it Great Land. I think the founding ceremony was the People's Hall in Beijing, endorsed by the premier at the time. So he mentioned how touched he first time set his foot on China mainland after the establishment of People's Republic. Also, Chen Jinsong mentioned living in the OCTs, like living in dreams and fantasies, how people really invested themselves into the building the OCT. So again, wrap up says, I would argue it showcased such a rich example of planning and developing garden city. The new town is more than just a high-end garden suburb community. It formed a united front between the society and the party state. Especially after 1989, state reformers, they felt disappointed because at a national level, the political reform became hopeless. So they invested themselves much more in the local, in Shenzhen, in the reform frontier. That's many designers and architects, planners, and also developers express such a turning point in their personal life, why they decided to go to Shenzhen, why they left Beijing or the north, going to the south. So they put their self out there, and all the elite professionals, they fulfill their dreams and accumulated the wealth, of course, along the way while participating in this real estate miracle. All the common people through this process saw aspirations. The theme park, the historical record, like 7万人, so it's like 70,000 people per person into a splendid China when they open. Also, the window of the world. The window of the world, they have this 76,000 people. 对吗? Number is always confuse me when I speak in number. Anyway, so common people saw aspiration for modern life with qualities. These elements, the basic elements of garden city design contributed to OCT's great success in the real estate. Hua Qiaocheng is one of China's largest state-owned developer now. It also expanded its business nationwide, like the Beijing one. The combination, there's a theme park plus a luxury housing. And more recent in Xi'an, overseas Chinese town, it's turning into a mere real estate project. what's beside the story, if you still remember the old Shahe farm, the farming land and the villages next to the hills and the orchards, they later on, they became urban villages by Shizhou. They contributed to the urbanism of OCT because they provide more of a mundane, a daily space and services to this luxury green community. But in the year of 2021, when I visited there, the Baishizhou, the local Shenzhen municipality who own the land, they have another vision for this piece, this area of Shenzhen. I think the development right now postponed because of the hardship of this real estate crisis. So I would stop here and welcome for questions and comments. Thank you.